Jake Mintz. He's a jack of all trades. Yesterday, Jake, NL Central. Today, AL East. You just do it all. So thank you for joining me again.
It's a pleasure. I'm the Ben Zobrist of covering baseball.
Very well said. All right. So AL East today. Let's start with some storylines, some things you're excited to watch in the AL East this year. Give me three of them. Three storylines you're looking at this year.
All right, let's start with Tampa. Another winter gone by, another winter of the Tampa Bay Rays, more or less, just sitting on their hands and doing nothing in free agency or on the trade market. They've done this many times before, and it has very rarely come back to bite them during the regular season. They're normally projected for between 85 and 90 wins. They usually win between 90 and 100. They outperform it. Guys you've never heard of come forward, and they kick butt, and they go to the postseason, and they lose. Happens every single year. I'm curious if this will finally be the year that haunts them. They were involved in Freddie Freeman. We knew that last year they were involved in thinking about trading for Matt Olson. They would have helped them to go and get one more guy. They just traded Austin Meadows away to the Tigers. They're going to call up some rookies to fill those spots. I'm sure they're going to win the division again. I have no doubt. But it just, every year, it's like, maybe just go get Trevor Story, and it's the guy you need to push just over the top. Carlos Rodon would have been a great fit in that rotation. So I'm just curious to see what happens if the Rays can still be in the mix despite sitting on their hands for yet another offseason.
Yeah, I don't really understand the trade with the Tigers is interesting, and every single trade that is made with the Rays, no matter how it looks, it could look extremely lopsided against the Rays. It just scares me to death if I'm a team trading with the Rays. So like you said, it looks like they've done nothing. They're going to be projected to win 85 to 90 games, and they're going to win the division. But I never understand it. I don't get it. So I'm absolutely with you there.
100%. And I think what's frustrating about it too is they can win 95 games with a payroll around 70 million, but they could probably win 105 games with a payroll around 105 million, right? They could take that next step and compete more in the postseason if they added another guy. Talking to people around that team last year, not having Charlie Morton in the ALDS against the Red Sox was basically the entire series, right? And part of the reason they chose not to bring him back was because of the payroll concern.
Yep, it's like they can get to a certain point but struggle getting over that hump. All right, what do you got next for me?
Next thing is the Yankees offense. Okay, so if I say the Yankees offense to you, Ben, what do you think of immediately? What do you think of?
A lot of home runs, a lot of strikeouts.
A lot of home runs, a lot of strikeouts, right? Well, I bet you didn't realize this, but last year this team was 19th in runs scored in Major League Baseball, behind Cleveland, behind Anaheim, behind Minnesota, who was bad. When we think of the Yankees, we think of big guys hitting big home runs. As recently as 2019, they hit 306 homers, which is the second most of all time. Now, part of that was probably the ball. But last year, everybody not named Aaron Judge or Giancarlo Stanton was just meh for the Yankees. And that's why they ended up scoring so few runs. They didn't make a ton of additions to try and fix that. Donaldson is the obvious one. I think some of those secondary players like LeMahieu and Hicks and Rizzo will have to fill in the void, because when we think of the Yankees, it's big offense, questionable pitching, weird defense, and that's not really what it was last year.
Right. They can't afford – the New York Yankees have to score runs in bunches.
Yeah.
And it seems like you said, they're big offense, questionable pitching, and they can't afford to be meh offense and questionable pitching. It just won't work out in their favor. So I like that one as well. All right, what do you got for me? Last storyline from you.
All right, my last storyline is about the Toronto Blue Jays, but more specifically about the vaccine mandate in Canada and how that's going to impact the American League East. Because as we've known and seen from what's happened in the NBA, Canada is not allowing people into the country who aren't vaccinated. And what that means is unvaccinated players in baseball will not travel with the team when they play in Toronto. Now, Toronto, the Blue Jays are subject to the same rules. The entire team has gotten vaccinated, so it won't be an issue for them. But it will be an issue for some of these other teams in the American League East. When you're playing 9 games at Rogers Center and this division could come down to 1 or 2 games, not having some big names potentially for those games could be the thing that sways the entire division. Now, personally, I think it's karma for the Blue Jays having to play in Dunedin and Buffalo the last 2 years that they'll have potentially the biggest home field advantage in baseball history.
Yeah, well, I promise you, the hitters didn't mind playing in Dunedin and in Buffalo. The pitchers sure minded it. But I feel like we don't talk about that enough. This is a big deal. And we haven't heard a lot about this. The Yankees and the Red Sox and the Rays, they're all going to be playing there. I'll throw the Orioles in. Your Orioles, sorry about that. Are all going to be playing there 9 times. And they're not, especially with the Yankees, some of the best guys on that team are not going to be able to play, which is a big deal. So I like that storyline.
Specifically with the Red Sox, so if you take a look at the schedule, the second to last series of the year, the Red Sox traveled to Toronto. Chris Sale has been perhaps the most outspoken, unvaccinated player in Major League Baseball. Are the Red Sox just going to roll into Toronto with the division maybe within 2 games and not have Chris Sale for that series? That's outrageous, right? That's crazy.
Yeah, that is wild. Okay, so the AL East, as we've already mentioned just in the storylines, there's some big names in this division, Jake. So if you're looking at this division, the AL East, who are some top players that you are most excited to watch this year in the AL East?
Now, so beyond the obvious crop of the top of Devers and Judge and Cole, I'm going to go kind of a half rung below that. I'm going to start off with Bo Bichette in Toronto. He gets overshadowed by Vlad Jr. a little bit, but Bichette was very close last year to posting an incredibly rare season. He hit .291 with 29 home runs and 25 stolen bases. If he can get to a .300 average, 30 home runs, and 25 steals, he will be the 3rd ever shortstop to pull that off, joining just Alex Rodriguez and Hanley Ramirez. We don't see shortstops with the type of skill set, bat-to-ball average ability, power, and speed that Bichette has. And I think this season could be even a bigger breakout. Again, he was outstanding last year, but I think there's another half gear for him.
I've heard of those other guys on that list as well. It's easy to forget how young he is. He's Flo Bichette, best hair in the league, killing it at shortstop. All right, so Bo Bichette is one of them. Who else you got?
I got Shane McClanahan, starting pitcher with the Tampa Rays. Our last memory of McClanahan was not a good one. He came in out of the bullpen in Game 4 of the ALDS against Boston and got knocked around at Fenway Park. He is the 8th fastest starting pitcher in the big leagues. He averages his fastball around 96.5 miles an hour, which is absolute gas. The difference is he is a lefty, right? A lefty starter throwing 96, 97 miles an hour with his fastball is a game changer. Last year, McClanahan got outs just on pure stuff alone. If he can kind of mature a little on the mound and learn how to pitch, he's going to be dominant. I love this guy's on-mound attitude. He is a bulldog. He goes right at hitters. Incredibly fun to watch.
Okay, love that as well. Hit me with your third one.
Kike Hernandez. Now, last October, Kike was the best baseball player in the history of the world for about a 10-day span of all time. He was an automatic home run for about a week, and I'm fascinated to see what he is now, right? Is he just like a souped-up version of what Chris Taylor, Ben Zobrist type, or is he just one of the best center fielders in baseball? He has always carried himself like a superstar. He's very gregarious and outgoing and personable and loud and in all the good ways, but he's never had the numbers to match that. And I'll be interested to see if his stats will kind of catch up to where his vibe is in 2022.
Okay, I love those answers because you didn't go with everybody should know Aaron Judge, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Rafael Devers. So good stuff there.
You don't need me to tell you
now.
You don't need me to tell you that like Aaron Judge is worth watching, right? Like I feel like we've passed that point. If you need me to tell you that, then like I'm just gonna quit. Like I don't need to do that.
Okay, so what I want to ask you now is for the people listening that might not be the most diehard fans in the world that are going to be following closely this year, and some newcomers in the AL East, rookies, under the radar players. Hit us with 3 names that people need to know in the AL East?
I mean, I'm going to just start off with the most obvious rookie, and that is Adley Rutschman, Baltimore Orioles top prospect, ranked by a lot of publications as the #1 prospect in baseball. I've got his bobblehead right here behind me. He is the hope of the future in Baltimore. He should be up at some point at the end of April. Hopefully, he's a switch hitting catcher with crazy power who knows how to handle a rotation. Won a College World Series at Oregon State. He's just going to be good right away. And he's built like a linebacker. Very, very unique player. So that's my #1. I'm sure people have heard of him. Second rookie to keep an eye on is Josh Lowe with the Tampa Bay Rays. He's a center fielder, left fielder for them, who should be on the opening day roster now that Austin Meadows has been traded to Detroit. Going to be funny and confusing that they have Brandon Lau at second base and Josh Lowe in the outfield. Josh Lowe is the younger brother of Nate Lowe. So they could have had Nate Lowe, Josh Lowe, and Brandon Lau. Expect Lowe. He's got great speed, great power, good, not great defender in the outfield. Should get a lot of run for Tampa. And then the last guy I'm interested in, not sure if he's going to be up to start the year, but Red Sox top prospect at first base, Tristan Casas. I want you to picture Eric Hosmer, but thicker. Okay. Kind of just like chokes up on the bat. Big boy, not ripped, but big. And but not
like a Bartolo Colon type?
Chubby. No, like it's just like more of a Jose Abreu type big. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Okay.
Like that type of big. Yeah. But he's 23, 22, right? He's an incredible hitter, first-round pick, has hit all the way up the chain. He was the best player on the USA Olympic team last year, hit 3 home runs in Tokyo. Expect him to come up kind of middle, end of the year. If Bobby Dahlbeck struggles and keeps piling up those strikeouts, you could definitely see Casas getting some run for the Red Sox down the stretch. So those are my 3 guys to keep an eye on.
Okay. Appreciate that, Jake. Again, joining me today for the AL East. Before I let you go, who you got winning it, man? This is a tough one. AL East is a tough division. Who is your AL East division winner?
Fool me once, shame on me. Don't pick the Rays twice, shame on me. I'm picking the Rays because everybody has been – I'm not getting bit in the butt again by not picking the Rays. Like, they're projected for fewer wins than the 3 other contenders in this division, but, like, they're the Rays. They win it. I don't believe in the Yankees' bottom of the order. I don't believe in Toronto's pitching depth, especially on the starting side. I don't believe in Boston's lineup being dynamic enough and the back end of that rotation. I think the Rays are still the most complete team. Winning a division, Ben, is not about the best 5 players on your team. It is about players 25 to 35 on your roster. Winning a playoff series is about the best 5 to 10. Winning a division is about 25 to 35, and the Rays do that better than everybody else in baseball.
Very well said, my friend. Again, thank you for the insight as always. Check Jake out at Cespedes Barbecue on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you want to. Jake, appreciate the time, my friend.
No worries, man. Orioles magic.
See ya. Thanks for watching. If you love Flippin Bats, swinging 3-0, or just talking ball, join us. Call us at 213-537-9339 with your questions. We have a weekly guest, and we have a lot of fun, so hit that subscribe button.